This is a brand new Specialized Diverge STR, and it's a full suspension gravel bike. Well, sort of. What it's done is taken a proven and very popular feature shock from the front of the bike, used on the previous two generations of Diverge, and first launched on a Roubaix endurance bike in 2014, and built it into the back of the frame, offering up to 30mm of seated compliance. It's a radical and very striking looking bike, so lots to talk about, and in this video I'll go through all the details of this new bike and share my first ride impressions after 2 days of riding here in the Black Forest in Germany. So let's dive in. Before we talk about the how, we should address the why, and also what does STR stand for? Well, STR stands for Suspend the Rider. Now with a mountain bike, you're suspending the entire bike and rider through a series of linkages, pivots and suspension components, shocks and suspension forks. But that adds weight and really changes the dynamic ride quality of the bike. So with Future Shock, it's all about isolating the rider from all the bumps and vibrations from riding over rough gravel, dirt tracks and poorly maintained roads. By ensuring you have a rigid frame and a rigid fork, you'll retain that dynamic ride quality of a double diamond road frame, or gravel frame in this case. So it's snappy, it's agile and very responsive to power input when you're out of the saddle or even in the saddle as well. But when you're in the saddle, you get all the comfort benefits of this system. So what the heck is going on back here then? Well, on the previous Diverge, they had quite a lot of flex or deflection from the saddle, bending back and forth, giving quite a bit of comfort over a normal seat post. But they really want to increase the range of travel, and this is the solution they come up with over 4 years of development and many prototypes, which I'll show you now as well. And the real genius of the system is what they call the frame post, which you can't really see because it's inside this fat seat tube here. But we have this oversized seat tube, and inside is a carbon tube, the frame post, and that is anchored in place with a bolt just above the front mech, where the front mech would be, and that is allowed to pivot back and forth, increasing the range of movement over a regular seat post on its own, giving up to 30mm of travel. But with that increased range of movement, they had to control it somehow to dampen that range of movement. Without a damper, it'd be really twangy, like a pogo stick, and all the energy stored in the seat post would come back at you in a quite violent and alarming way on a big impact. So what we have, their solution, is inside the carbon top tube is a hydraulic damper, and that's connected to the frame post by this bracket here called the tendon. There's an aluminium bracket connecting to the carbon tube here and controlled by a damper here. It's a totally sealed unit with adjustable rebound and compression. We have a small lever here to lock it out, to fully open it, and a setting in between those two extremes. So you can turn it on and off as the terrain dictates the requirements of this system. So up to 30mm of movement, hydraulic damper there, totally sealed with a rubber boot here, and you can fit a normal round 27.2mm seat post, and you can fit a dropper seat post as well. The frame posts here will come in 9 versions in total, with different carbon fibre layouts to tune the amount of stiffness for each frame size available. And each bike will come with 2 of these frame posts, and each frame post itself offers 2 settings. So you can undo the bolts and rotate it and offer a softer or firmer setting. So tune it to your riding style and your rider weight as well. So quite a lot of adjustment from the frame post itself, and also the compression damping here as well. That new feature aside, the rest of the bike is the same as the current and previous Diverge. So the same 47mm tyre clearance, the same geometry, the same option to fit bags and bottles all over the bike as well. The same Future Shock 2.0 with the control dial on the top to lock it out and open it up as well. And of course, the same down tube SWAT storage, which is a really neat way to carry tools and sweets and stuff without filling your pockets or using a saddlebag as well. Basically all the same good stuff that I really enjoyed when I reviewed the bike about a year ago, linked out down below. So as you can see, I've been spoilt by riding the range-topping S-Works bike at this launch with the SRAM Red Eagle mullet setup, super lightweight and wide profile carbon Terra wheels, carbon handlebar, even a 3D printed saddle as well, which is now starting to spec on these bikes, and a carbon seat post. I'll put prices down below because they haven't been confirmed at the time of making the video. And there'll be quite a range of bikes. I need to check my notes here. So I have the S-Works you see here, but also a Pro and Expert with SRAM, Force and Rival. And a regular Diverge will continue in its current form at Expert and Comp levels, and there's still an alloy model at a lower price point as well. So quite a big range of bikes. But going forward, this is the kind of the direction of a Diverge, but you can still buy a normal one. And if all this sounds like too much tech for you and you want a simpler bike, there is of course the Crux with the same tyre clearance, different geometry, and fewer of the bike packing adventure frills you get on this bike as well. So really two bikes that cover the wide range of gravel riding and all its interpretations right now. So that's all the details of the bike. Let me get change and go for a spin and see how it rides. So we're deep in the Black Forest in Germany, riding a brand new bike. The sun has just broken through, the trails are wet. We're riding up a very bumpy logging track, loads of exposed rocks, lots of roots, and a perfect demonstration for the abilities of this new bike. And my goodness, isn't it good? Just smoothing out all your bumps so well, letting you stay in the saddle, keep the power on, keep the speed up. Just fantastic. You don't really notice it working so much as you don't notice the impact from the bumps that you would expect when you ride over a big root or rock. There's no jolt, no jarring through the backside. It just makes life a lot easier than a bike which is bouncing around underneath you. And the amount of travel seems to be just about right for the size of bumps you typically expect to get on a gravel ride. It's great, you can adjust the rear fuse shock. Got a little lever, really easy to access. Fully open, switch to the left, and then kind of firmed up, almost locked out to the right. So on the road, flick the lever, nice and firm, and the bike's fantastically fast, really responsive. Feels like a road bike really, it's on fat tyres. Then get off road, like we are now, flick the lever, engage that full travel, and get all the benefits of having that fuse shock concealed within the frame. And it is really nicely concealed as well. Done a fantastic job of packaging it into the frame. And it's probably what the bike needed for the way gravel going, faster, more demanding, pushing your bikes to their absolute limits. And this definitely allows you to push your limits on fast gravel, and it makes riding rough tracks so much fun and definitely faster, more control, feels safer. Maybe removes that element of underbiking a little bit, but I think for a lot of people riding gravel tracks and a side order of roots and rocks and single track, just the right approach. It does take some getting used to. In the open setting you can feel it moving around, maybe sagging around a bit more than you're used to. I mean, there's nothing else to compare it to. Feels more controlled than a suspension seat post because it's damped, which most suspension seat posts aren't, so it's more controlled. But after a few miles, that sensation definitely fades away, and you're just left that impression of smoothness. The riding here in the Black Forest is spectacular. Very similar to parts of Wales, or in the Forest of Dean. The gravel is a similar grade, very smooth, a few chunky bits, but the hills are bigger, the trees are much bigger as well, and the views are incredible. I mean, look at this. You could probably ride for days and days out here and not see a person or car. That'd be a great place to come back for a longer trip, do some bike packing maybe. And then it rained and rained. Look at that. I can't see anything. Glasses absolutely covered in mud and my eyes are full of water. Wow, that is a tremendous amount of weather that was. So first ride impressions are very positive despite the quite challenging weather out here in Germany. Compared to the regular Diverge, it's definitely a smooth ride. You really feel the benefits of that rear fuse shock when you're riding on rough, gravel or kind of rooty, rocky trails, whether climbing or descending when you're in the saddle. Yet when you're out the saddle, you've got all that dynamic ride quality and kind of sprinty performance you want from a bike like this, especially in this lightweight, very fast package we have here. And I really can see the comfort benefits of this bike for many people who are doing gravel, either racing, doing a 10-hour, 200-mile race, or you're doing a long bikepacking adventure and you want a bit more comfort. Because while big tyres on their own do provide a lot of natural suspension, in my experience of riding different gravel bikes and suspension seat posts and stems and also some mountain bikes, I really am of the school of thought that a bit of suspension along with fat tyres on a gravel bike is a winning combination if you value having as much comfort without going to a mountain bike to get that kind of maximum comfort you could get from a package like that, whilst retaining all the performance benefits of a drop bar gravel bike. So I do have concerns, as I'm sure you do, around the durability and reliability of this system, but 2 days of riding isn't enough to really expose any weakness in the system. It's been raining, we've been riding through mud and grit, and it's been fine so far. But hopefully going forward from this launch, I'll have my hands on a long-term test bike, and as we head into winter back in the UK, I can really put it through the grinder and to see how it really stacks up and whether it's as reliable as the company claims it to be. Now, if you want to know more about the conception of this brand new Diverge STR, then I urge you to watch my video conversation with Chris Deluzio, who is the brains behind the bike, by watching the video right up here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button down here. And if you've got any questions, put them in the comment section down below. But that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching.